So what you did, right, was you took parts of yourself and put them out so that you could create an identity that's kind of like out there in front of you, keeping you safe. We've all come here with a divine purpose, traveling on a stream of cosmic dust from the stars into our mother's wombs, born into this precious life. It is no accident that you are here, my love, on earth, in this moment, in this body. You are here longing to find your place, to align with your purpose, to embody your passions and to live into the dreams of your heart. Yet so often we get caught, suspended in the tangle of life, not able to move forward, not able to find solace and comfort in a world that has forgotten the truth of our existence. As we begin to remember, as we peel back the layers, as we come together to uncover our unique gifts and reconnect with our authentic selves, we are able to see another way of being, a new possibility, a different life waiting to be lived. I have experienced on this complicated and wild journey of life that when we connect with the story of our soul, it will show us the magic of this life that we have been missing. It will open a window into the very heart of who we truly are, of who we came here to be, and gives us answers to our ever-asking why. Hello, 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 beautiful souls. Thank you for being here today for our 200th episode. And it feels wild and exciting, and I just want to say thank you for your support, because without you, I would not be here doing a 200th episode or any episodes at all. So I so appreciate the community we're creating and the willingness, right, to lean into something that we can't often explain, and that the world we live in doesn't give us a lot of ability to dive into this in a mainstream way. And so here we are finding these other avenues and creating these other spaces where we can really practice our craft, where we can come together in a deeper truth for a bigger purpose. And I just love being here with you for this, knowing that we all share a common goal, a common interest, and a common thread of love for one another. So thank you. And today, in celebration of this episode, I have a very special guest to share with you. She is a dear friend and colleague, and she was one of the first guests on this podcast when I first began many years ago. And without her love and encouragement and support, I would not be here in this place that I am today. She has been such a beautiful part of my journey and such a great support and a wonderful friend and confidant in this wild and crazy journey that we are on. So I have so much love and gratitude for her, and I'm so excited to share her with you again today. So Elissa is here with us, and she is in the process of recreating and reinventing herself, which seems to be a thread for so many of us these days, right? In these uncertain and challenging and changing times, we are being called to walk a different path and to leave behind things that have been supporting us and yet might not be the thing that is for us as we move forward. And she has been on a surprising journey this year, one that a year ago she would not have anticipated she would be inside of. And in this, she is coming here today with a question about endings, because as excited as she is to transition, as willing as she is to walk this new path, she can feel that parts of her are not okay with this new trajectory and this uncertainty that is her future. And she's done a ton of work, like so many of you have. And yet there's this stuckness that she is experiencing and is looking for some guidance on what that is about. And what we dive into, what comes forward right away is this desire in her energetic body to be unstuck. We see that she has done a ton of emotional and mental work, and yet the energetic part of her, it wants to catch up to that. And so I actually move some things around in her energy field to help her body become unstuck so that then the work that she has done can take hold and traction in her life. Because everything comes from the spiritual into the energetic, into the physical. And when we look at all of those layers, we can then find freedom, right? We can get unstuck. But if we are only addressing one particular layer, there's always the layer above that is informing the layer below. And we have to go up in vibration, in dimension, in order to clear the pathway for the spiritual to move through into the physical. So this is something Elissa and I explore. And then we also, as happens so often in this podcast, right, we end up talking with her younger self. And we look at how part of her from the past is still caught in some memories that had to do with endings. And we look at how can she move through an initiation and a ceremony with this part of herself in order to allow everything to come together in alignment so that her path forward becomes aligned and easeful and free. So as you listen, I invite you to think of the places in your life that you might be stuck, and where can you address this from a different dimension, from a different vibration, and therefore allow this trickle down effect to bring freedom and wholeness to your being. Hi, Elissa.
Hi, Sarah.
Welcome back to the show. It's so good of you to be here for this 200th episode.
I am so excited to be back and to be here with you. I'm excited and honored that I get to be a part of the 200th episode. So thank you for inviting me back.
Yeah. And I did explain a little in the intro, just our history and you being a big part of the start of this show. But I just wanted to thank you in person while we're here.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited that you're still doing this. And I think that you're helping a lot of people with it. So thank you for doing it for everyone.
I think it just kind of does itself, is how I experience it.
In the flow.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's dive in. How can I help you today?
Yeah, I'm so grateful to get your support and insight on something that I've just been feeling stuck on. And as you know, just because we have a connection, I am in the process of creating a new professional pathway. And I have been doing a lot over the last 6 months to make some big changes in my life professionally. And I have decided to close my coaching business and to step into more of an internal coach position somewhere. And I'm having a really hard time closing the business. I have a handful of clients that I adore and love working with. And there's something holding me back from closing their contracts out. I know how to do it. I'm just struggling with actually doing it. So I'm just wondering what it is that's holding on. And I feel a heaviness in my heart about it. So I thought maybe this would be an interesting place to explore.
Yeah, thank you. So as you're talking, I feel like what you're talking about in your heart. And then it's connected down into my pelvis. And then when I track that and I kind of expand out a little bit, I'm in a room and it's got all these windows, and it reminds me of a classroom. And I see you there working, like you're studying, you're really committed, like your head is down, and you're like, I've got to get this right. It feels like you're writing a letter, actually, is the way that I experience that. And it's like this room is really big. There's these windows, there's this light coming in, and you're alone in the room, even though there's all these other desks. And so let me see where this image wants to take us. So you're bringing me back to your heart, and it's like opening and closing and opening and closing. And it makes me think of how, like, you would open your heart, like, this is still you, right? As the little girl, you would open your heart to love, and then something would happen and you would close it. And then because you have like such this beautiful nature, this innocence in you, you would then open your heart again. And then something would happen and you would close. And I feel that you got kind of stuck in this cycle of opening and closing, and having like this part of you that wants so deeply to help is the word, right? Like it's almost like you're negating how much hurt you are experiencing because there's this part of you that wants to help so much. And so you would lean into this part of you that wants to help, and then you would kind of get crushed. But then you'd be like, no, 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 I'm supposed to help. And you would negate this part of you. And I see it as it's kind of moved behind you in a protective way. And then you're stuck in this open position. So that's quite a bit there to look through. And I would love to hear your, like, how you connect to that image and that information.
Mm. Well, it created some visuals, but also some like flashes and memories. And the visual was, I think when I was really little, I spent a lot of time in the meadow right next to my house, which was just a lawn that wasn't ever mowed really. And I would hide in there and get really familiar with the flowers. And they would close at the end of the day as the sun went down, and they would open in the morning in the sun. And so I kept seeing that as you were describing the open and close. And I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I could see it and I could feel it. And the being hurt and still trying to help is very, very familiar. It feels like that's a part of me, like almost a part of me that I would be proud of, in a way where I still notice that pattern. If someone needs something, that trumps my needs often. So I think there is a part of me that doesn't want to let people down that have trusted me to work with them as their coach. And so there's definitely an element there that's still a part of that familiar pattern.
Mhm. Let me feel what your body needs, because it's this open, like, way that it's open is asking for something. So just give me a sec. So when you got stuck in the open position, it's like the crown is open and this part of you is open. What that does is, so like the bottom half of you is closed, and the bottom is where we get our power coming up through, right? And through the crown is where we receive the spiritual information, the instructions that runs that power. And in this frame, right, we're not talking about your entire life. We're just talking about in this frame of you closing out your business, being this younger part of you that is showing up in this sort of people pleasing, I need to put other people ahead of me. So we're in this frame. And it's like, I need to pull some of this stuff out for you. Is that okay?
Sure.
I don't need to. I would like to. But your body needs me to. So I'm just going to pull that out for you because we get plugged with other people's intentions, right? So, this part of you that needed to serve others or like put others ahead of yourself, it's not even your pattern. It's a pattern that got given to you by your father. So, it was like a way to stay safe in his world. So, we're just going to kind of pulling that out. And as I pull that out, it's letting your body, like, there's a little bit of movement where it's stuck and it wants to, so the top can start to close a little bit so that the bottom can open and you can actually get some power coming in that can then start to help move this stuck place. So it's like literally like you're stuck in an energetic way.
No wonder it's been so hard to unravel why. Yeah, it's deeper than just the thought process.
Yeah. Yeah. It's someone else's intention and like a energetic pattern gets put onto you at a young age in a developmental stage. And then your body learns to work itself around that. So I'm just letting your body, I just want to see what your body does with moving that. So then once we pull that out, right, then your body adjusts a little bit. And then what your body is looking for is identity. Like, who are you? Like, what did you have to do? So what you did, right, was you took parts of yourself and put them out so that you could create an identity that's kind of like out there in front of you, keeping you safe. So I'm going to just grab a couple of those pieces back for you, okay? And, I know that you've done a lot of work around things, especially in the mental and emotional department. So it makes sense that what your body is showing me is the energetic part of this process, right? Because you've cleared enough of the other things where we can see, and the body has an opportunity to actually do something with the energetic parts.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It almost felt like a deeper layer than I could go on my own.
Mhm. One of the things when we were talking before, we were brought in this idea of endings. And you had mentioned finding a memory that you felt was connected to that. Does it feel okay for you to bring that into the conversation?
Sure, it does. Yeah, I was looking for sort of that connection to that tender feeling about endings, that the ending could be like, let's just say it's a chapter. It could be the beginning of a new chapter, but it felt so hard to end. And what popped into my head was a memory I have pretty often in my life, like almost like a movie of this memory in my childhood. I think I'm about 5 or 6 years old. And up until that point in my life, my little sister, who's 2 years younger, and both my two cousins and my aunt and uncle were a very big part of my life, where I was always playing with my cousins. And I have a lot of memories of the aunt and uncle for such an early childhood time. And the memory that showed up was them in their moving truck driving away.
What do you think you made that mean?
Yeah, obviously. It's funny because I was thinking through it, but I didn't feel the emotion until saying it out loud.
Yeah, just take your time. Be with the emotion. It's okay. It's energy moving.
Yeah, I think there was like a ripple effect where that memory got tied to a series of events after that. So maybe that's in my childhood way of connecting things. It was sort of then my parents got divorced, which was really a rough period of time. The marriage was so bad that my mom's choice was that she felt was better for us was to move into an A-frame cottage in the woods that didn't even have indoor plumbing. So it must have been really rough for her to stay if that was the option that she chose instead, where we were using the outside for the bathroom or washing dishes in a stream. So yeah, so there wasn't like, I think that memory is tied to like a snowball effect of really challenging period of time in our life, in my life growing up.
Hmm. And so, like an ending of a safe relationship of your aunt and uncle, and then an ending of a marriage, an ending of a way of living. And those new beginnings weren't necessarily comforting and nurturing.
Right. Right. You know, I mean, of course, I can look back and rationalize, well, it wasn't all bad, or, you know, I could see some of the positives as well. But I think there is something to that snippet. Like that memory comes back on a regular basis. It's not like a haunting memory, but it's definitely one I've gone back to many times of my cousins leaving forever.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's interesting, right? Even as you're saying it now, how there's this beautiful part of you rushing in to rationalize that, well, there still were good times and it's okay. And
Yeah. I don't want to make anybody bad or
hmm,
yeah,
where it feels like that little girl that happened to needs some validation that it sucked.
right.
Like
Yeah.
she's standing there like stomping her feet and shaking her head and like, why can't you just let it be bad? It sucked. Agree with me.
Right. Right. Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah.
It's really sucky to wash dishes in an ice cold, like snow runoff stream, I will admit. Never knowing if a snapping turtle was going to be there on that day.
Yeah. Like that's a big deal.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. Like it, because it wasn't like, oh, we went camping one weekend and we had to do that. It was like, you know, a 9 month period that we lived in this little, a cabin would be a romanticized idea.
Hmm. Yeah. So it would make sense, right? That as you are bringing something to a close, that she is really concerned about what that ending might bring.
Yeah, I think as I unpacked just that memory, I could see our minds look for the evidence to stack of other endings. And I could definitely find other endings where I was like, yeah, that was not good either. I should have, you know, all the things we can do to ourselves when we try to relive a moment or figure out. So I think safety and just how do I let go of that, right? That fear of the ending and look forward to the beginning of something that I am looking forward to. But obviously, there's something there that's making it challenging for me to step to the next thing.
It's like the uncertainty is the word that drops in that she's nervous about. Because as much as you want to convince her that, oh, it's going to be fine and it's not like that, she's like, well, I don't know. The track record kind of tells me that it wasn't that great when things ended.
Right.
The word that I hear is ceremony. And like, like I see you sitting in the woods with her and holding a ceremony to bring something to a close, right? It is something that we have lost in our culture is ceremony of completion. And the other word that's dropping in is initiation. That it's like she went through an initiation back then that was not completed. And she's left on one side of the threshold. And she needs or is asking for an initiation and a ceremony to bring her across that threshold so that she can join you in this time and in this space.
Yeah. I like that idea. I think I can almost imagine what that looks like, you know. like this closing of a circle, that the circle is continuous, there's possibilities and transformation, which are like components I really lean into when I'm in the place of my best self, where I can really feel like grounded in those things. And yeah, I mean, it's really interesting that this part of myself is showing up right now, because it is a big life transition that I'm in the middle of.
Mhm.
So I can see and heal kind of like that piece that didn't get acknowledged for such a long time. And maybe together together we can step into the next thing and have a little more fun. That would be nice.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like the threshold is you pulling her from that time into this time and like reminding her in that ceremony that, hey, it's March 2025. We live here now. Come join me in this time, in this space. It's okay. I'm here for you, and we get to do endings differently now. We get to honor the endings. It's like rewriting endings for her. So, like in the ceremony, allowing the memories of those endings to come forward and giving them the space they need to be heard through her, and then pulling her forward to this moment so that that ending becomes honored and there is a completion. It's like she's hanging in the abyss of things not being completed. And the initiation happens right when it's completed.
Yeah, that's a long time to wait. She's been waiting for a long time.
She's incredibly resilient.
Poor kid. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It feels really good. I can feel myself lighter and a little bit more like imaginative about what could be a part of a ceremony for me that makes the most sense to integrate this part of myself that needs to understand that we're not in that scary place of life anymore. Now, this is kind of like this exciting, very intentional step forward that I would love to make and not feel guilt or shame or sadness or, people pleasing about everyone else involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's the part of you now that knows all of those things and is creating it that way intentionally. And then the part of you that is clinging or dragging or that you're having this experience with of that deeper part, it's her. And so just integrating her in allows for you to be in the fullness of what you're creating.
Mm, yeah, amazing. That was really, really interesting to unpack some of those different things that seem like they're not connected or don't make a lot of sense logically, but obviously energetics aren't all science and logic necessarily, are they? It's so much bigger and more interesting than that. The science can't even explain it.
Yeah, I know it's the wild part of us.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah. You're amazing.
You're amazing. I'm just going to look and see if there's anything else coming in for you with that. So, calling me back to kind of where we started, right? Where there's this closing of the root and this opening of the upper self. And let me find the right words for you. So, it's the sensation is the you that you've created on top of the you that you're not okay with. And this sensation of drawing down into the womb, the darkness, kind of where we started, right? Where I had the sensation in my heart and then it was coming down into the pelvis. And there's this wanting of your body to be rooted and to go more into the darkness. It's like you've created this upper realm of light and positivity and all the goodness, which is great, right? Like there's nothing wrong with that. Yet it's like half of the picture. So there's this desire of the body for you to understand the lower self, the more into the wounding, into the darkness, into the negativity of whatever that ends up being for you, right? But where you're creating like more of a balance in yourself that isn't just the you've created to make it through everything. It's like time for you to go and look at the truer self underneath as well.
Is that another episode?
Ah.
That sounds like a big thing.
Yeah, it's a journey, right? But
Yeah.
yeah. And I know you, right? So I know that you've had so much going on. And in that space, you've done what you've needed to do to make it through and to just traverse that landscape in a way that is supportive. Yet the things that you are not looking at are underneath, and they would love for you to come play with them.
Okay, well, I'll give it a shot and see what happens. I might call you back for another supportive reading or something.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, but I see that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And really, they want you to know that, like, you didn't do anything wrong. You did what you had to do. And yet now it's time to include something else.
Yeah, I think that's right on.
Because, right, you're creating this new path forward. So you might as well include this as well, right? Like don't build the whole new path forward just on the upper self and the positivity. Include the foundation, include the underbelly so that as you move forward on the new trajectory, you're not like your foundation isn't crumbling.
Mm, yeah, I think that's really helpful to think about it that way. Mhm. Okay, more work to do.
Soul's on a journey.
Yeah, thank
Mhm.
you, Sarah.
You're welcome. Does this feel like an okay place to land today?
Yes, thank you for everything. I really appreciate it. And congratulations on 200.
Thanks for being this episode.